Right now, Dr. Iris Mack is on the line with us. She's an MBA, PhD, previously was an astronaut semifinalist, an investment banker, an Enron energy trader, and an MIT professor. Dr. Mack, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
And the website that you have is phatmath.com. Do I have that right?
Yes, phatmath.com.
Phatmath, spelled phatmath.com. And Dr. Mack, the reason I wanted to get you on is I found this story of you being basically if I have this right, a whistleblower who with Harvard University was pointing out that at the time that Dr. Larry Summers was the president of Harvard, he was engaging, or Harvard was engaging, in some very, very risky derivatives trading. You essentially warned of that and found yourself on the outside looking in. Do I have that in summary correct?
For the most part, yes. I mean, I never call myself a whistleblower. That title has been bestowed upon me by the press, but I guess if you want to use that term, I was just basically doing my job. I was hired as a PhD quantitative analyst to basically analyze the models and data and the trading processes, and it was just, a sort of a matter-of-fact, result of analysis that I've been doing. It wasn't to cause any major uproar.
Right. So you were hired to analyze the trading that was going on in what fund? Okay,
my group was called Equity and Commodity and Energy Derivatives. Energy area, and
This was within Harvard University?
Yes, within the Harvard Management Company. There are various funds, and mine was Equity. The guy worked for Jeff Larson. He was International Equities, basically stocks.
Right. And
then they started to branch out into, more sophisticated products when I got there.
Right.
So
as in your role as, I guess oversight would be probably a good description, or analysis, you sent a note. Was it directly to Larry Summers saying, "Hey, wait a minute"? And what did the note say?
Well, I don't have it right in front of me, but it basically was directly to him by email and by fax. So I want to get that straight. It was to him.
Right.
And for the most part, I introduced myself and said I was, Harvard alumni because I did my PhD there, and I'm working at the fund. And, just wanted to, get some insight because I just come from Enron and, seeing a little bit of resistance to some of the, suggestions I was making, and even also wondering why, we didn't have people from the business school and the finance and the economics department advising the fund. I was basically the only Harvard alumni at the fund, and I thought, given all the resources we had right there on the, campus, it just seemed strange. So, I wasn't really, again, I never thought it would lead to all of this.
Right.
It was just more, maybe, since you're the president and you're supposed to be an economic whiz kid, you might have some insight into, how to approach some of these issues that I'm concerned with.
Right, and some of these dangerous trades in derivatives and things like that.
Well, I didn't go into the details in the very first email.
Okay.
Because I wanted to wait to see what the response would be.
Right.
And then I did get a response from his chief of staff stating that they wanted to know my concerns and whatever I told them would be held in confidence. So it was only until I got that in writing that I decided to go forward,
right.
Which, turned out to be a joke because Larry Summers didn't keep it confidential.
Yeah, and in fact, fired you, right?
Well, it was because of him turning over the documents to the people I work for, yes.
Yeah.
So, I want to make that very clear. I have nothing against him personally, but he was directly responsible for me being fired because I approached him. I didn't approach anybody else.
Right.
His office tell me in writing this is the case. I just thought, okay, fine. I'll move forward with my concerns.
Right. And now you're with phatmath.com, phatmath.com. You're advocating teaching math to girls.
Well, it's not just to girls. I think in general, even to grown-ups. One of the things I noticed, which is why the two are connected, FatMath and what I did in finance. And I'm actually, I'm not just doing FatMath. I've been a professor, and I've just finished one university and about to start a new one, but I don't want to say the name until we finish the negotiation.
Sure.
But I do a lot of the teaching, finance, statistics, and things like that online. But what I notice is, not just with children, and the FatMath is not just for girls, it's for students K through college. And but also with grown-ups. I think one of the biggest problems with this whole financial crisis is math illiteracy.
Okay, so in other words, you didn't do this in response to Larry Summers' comment about how girls and women are less competent at math or anything like that. You're not on some kind of anti-Larry Summers jihad here or anything like that.
No, I'm not against Larry Summers. The guy, I don't have anything against him personally. I was just surprised that you can put something in writing and, basically, just, it doesn't mean anything. I guess maybe, you have to have a legal ironclad contract these days to trust anybody. But no, fat math was something I've been wanting to do for years. I've been wondering how do you make math more, appealing to not just girls, but people in general. I mean, when people meet me and they find I have a PhD in math from Harvard, they look at me like I have 5 eyeballs.
I get it. We're talking with Dr. Iris Mack, who was fired from Harvard University for basically notifying Larry Summers that there were some problems in the way that the investments were going on, and those investments have gone in the tank. Harvard has lost. Yes. I've seen 3 different stories now. One suggests that they're down about 30%. Another suggests they're down over 40%. I suppose they're different snapshots at different points in time, but as a consequence of some of these very risky trades that you were specifically warning about, has anybody from Harvard or from Mr. Summers' office or anything come back to you and said, thanks for telling us or acknowledged? I guess not, huh?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff on the blogs where people are saying that, but not directly from him. There's even this really cute list floating around. It's called Competent Alternative for the Treasury Post. And I'm honored to be on there with Joe Stiglitz, who's a Nobel Prize winner, and Brooks Lee Bourne, who warned Summers, Rubin, and Greenspan years ago about regulating these derivatives. So, I mean, it's only happened a few days ago, but it's I'm not expecting any kind of award. I was just trying to do my job.
Right.
They were paying me very well. Harvard was my alma mater. So I thought, this is just normal responsibility.
Yeah, and I understand you want to continue a career in the academic world, and trashing a former boss and university president is probably not the very best thing for that. And so I think
he's been trashed enough. I don't need to add to it.
Right. Well, that's where the question, and I would totally respect you saying that you don't want to get into that if you don't want to, but I'm just curious about your thoughts as a PhD in math, so somebody who was there at Enron when it went down in flames, as somebody who worked inside the Harvard investment machine, as it were, what your thoughts are about Mr. Summers being the senior economic advisor to the Obama administration.
It's puzzling to me, and not only to me, it's puzzling to a lot of people, because it's not just my situation with him, but he's been wrong on a lot of things. I mean, you just have to go and read, some of his views on things, from environmental things to, his views on women in science, to his not wanting to regulate the derivatives market. I mean, it's not. I can think of a whole bunch of other economists, not only economists. That's another puzzling thing. Why only economists? I mean, there should be a much more, diverse group of people, not just according to race, but backgrounds. And a lot of these financial derivatives models are better understood by mathematicians and physicists and computer scientists than they are economists. So I don't get, a lot of things.
Yeah, some of these models actually, most of these models weren't, in fact, I don't think any of these models were developed by economists. They were developed by traders, by people who basically had a background, if they had a background, in finance or in math or in computer science.
So I don't get why economists are like the gatekeepers. I never understood that. Yeah. It reminds me when I was in grad school, I used to have a couple of economic majors in my first year applied math courses at Harvard, and that was when I was really naive. I didn't even know how much weight economists held, but I remember a couple of times they would speak, and some of my engineering and math classmates would just roll our eyes like, oh, God. Mm-hmm. There they go again.
Yeah, well, it's the dismal science. I think that there really is a kind of a certain elite in that. Yeah, you're right. It isn't and has never been clearly demonstrated to be one. Dr. Mack, we've got to wrap it up, but I wanted to thank you for dropping by, and we'll plug your website again, PHATmath, fatmath.com. Advocating math literacy. Dr. Iris Mack, previously of Harvard and other places. Thank you so much for dropping by.
Thank you very much.
Great speaking with you, and for speaking the truth. I think you're welcome. Speaking the truth is an important thing. 16 minutes past the hour.